Continuing with looking glass self, the concept given by Cooley, we move on to the emergence of self. Now, self emerges over the life history of an individual. So, अब जब लाइफ हिस्ट्री की बात कर रहे हैं तो दैट मीन्स इट इज़ ए प्रोसेस, इट्स ए कंटिन्यूअस काइंड ऑफ प्रोसेस. और ये सेल्फ जो है इसका ये भी मतलब है कि इट माइट चेंज अलोंग विद द लेट्स से चेंज इन द लाइफ ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल फ्रॉम लेट्स से चाइल्डहुड all the way to the maturity, because from childhood people play different kind of roles and they get different kind of let's say estimation of their role, and the situations could be different, roles could be different, and all these are part of the process of the development of the self. So therefore, we call it as a process. So process means it emerges through different, let's say, stages, different steps. So young infants may have limited ability to read their gestures. Well, since they are very young, therefore, probably they have the limitations. So initially they may be unable to see themselves as objects in the looking glass. With time, practice, biological maturation and exposure to varieties of other children come to see themselves in the looking glass. अब वो तो बचपन में ही इस किस्म की बातें शुरू हो जाती हैं, because this child is more like a copying machine. That child copies the behavior of elders within the family. तो ये दो टांगों पे चलना भी है जो है, ये भी एक किस्म की कॉपी करना है elders को. And then the child gets all kinds of response to the, let's say, behavior, to the actions the child is trying to play. And the action here is, in my example here, is to walk just like the elders, and how the elders, let us say, show the appreciation and how they help that child to play that particular role. So we see that individuals develop self-feeling, and over time they have some kind of that's a stable kind of self-feeling. When I say it's a process, that means it can change, it does change till it comes to, let us say, maturity. So it is an inevitable provided one interacts with others. Now that is important. So society में अगर हैं और सामने अगर हैं जिनके साथ interact कर रहे हैं, जिनको आप कॉपी कर सकते हैं, तो इसीलिए हम ये कहते हैं कि बच्चा दो टांगों पे चलता है, इसलिए कि उसके सामने जो उसके लोग हैं वो दो टांगों पे चल रहे हैं, एंड ही और ट्राइज टू एक्ट लाइक देम. बोलना जो है ये भी उसी का हिस्सा है, और अगर इंटरैक्शन नहीं हो, सोसाइटी का वो हिस्सा नहीं है, तो वो बच्चा बोलेगा भी नहीं, और that will be, let's say, a deficiency. So over time an individual's personality is developed through the process of this interaction, and that personality is let us say reflection of the self of the individual. So metaphorically, others are the looking glass, others' gestures are a mirror reflecting the role performance of the individual. So what we think of ourselves depends what we think others think of us. That's important. What we think of ourselves depends on what we think others think of us. तो ये बात बड़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है. So look at how our perception of how we look to others, our perception, our imagination, how we appear to others, how our role, performance appears to others, whether they appreciate that role or they say no, it's not according to their expectation. और दूसरी बात है our perception in their judgment of how we look. एक तो पहली बात है कि our perception about ourselves, how do we appear, then others' perception about our role performance, and then we, on the basis of that, we have some kind of self-image, some kind of self-feeling. So it could be self-concept, it can be self-consciousness. So over time, an individual becomes conscious of the self. तो कूले ने इस सेल्फ को 3 हिस्सों में डिवाइड किया. उसमें एक सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस है, और ये सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस वही है कि सेल्फ अवेयरनेस ऑफ फीलिंग्स अबाउट वन सेल्फ, कि मैं हूँ क्या. दूसरी बात उसमें आ रही है सोशल कॉन्शियसनेस, पर्सन्स परसेप्शंस ऑफ एंड एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स अदर पीपल. और तीसरी बात है पब्लिक कॉन्शियसनेस, an individual's view of others as organized in a communicative group. So all 3 aspects are phases of the single whole. So it helps the individual to be a cooperative member of the society. We see that it helps people to have a basis for, let's say, stability in their actions, and that stability can lead to, let's say, continuation of the interaction. So that is how these reactions become as a means to social control, controlling the behavior of others, controlling the actions of others. So interaction is necessary, as I said earlier, for the appearance of the self. अगर interaction नहीं है तो reflection नहीं है उसके role performance का. तो अगर वो अकेला ही को बंदा है तो फिर जो मर्जी करे, उसको की एप्रिसिएशन की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, किसी को खुश करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो ड्यूरिंग इंटरैक्शन पीपल डेवलप सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस एंड सेल्फ फीलिंग, और रिपीटेड जो है उसकी रोल परफॉर्मेंस है इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ अदर्स हेल्प्स इन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट. And all these interactions with the others metaphorically can be called as a looking glass in which the person's role performance is reflected and the person makes adjustments accordingly.